Hi folks, Tom Goodwin here, the Assistant Curator at the Owl's Head Transportation Museum. Welcome back to one millennial's foray into what it used to be like before fun. Last time we learned that the Model T is a car and that its design can be attributed to the whimsical artistry of the child, Harold Wills. This time, we're putting the experts on the spot. We're going to find out what a Model T really means. Here's one for you. What would the Model T look like if Ford hadn't invented it?
If you hadn't created the Model T, you would have continued to have the competition that you already had between gas, electric, and steam automobiles. There was already intense competition for what the automotive landscape was going to look like in the early 1900s. Electric cars were popular because they were easy to use and they were quiet, but they didn't have much of a range. Whereas gas cars, it's easy to refuel them, but they're much more complicated to use. What Ford achieved with the Model T was that he made a relatively inexpensive car that was reliable and easy to use. Remember when smartphones got popular? They were not the first way that people got on the internet. They were not the first mobile communication. But when you combine these two things into something that fits into your pocket, it changes how we communicate. The Model T is like that. With all the mileage that we get out of smartphones these days, it's like bandwidth is the new horsepower.
Hey, how many horses do you think it would take to power a smartphone?
I don't know. We could calculate that.
Why do you have to make everything boring?
I was literally just answering the question you asked.
Here with us today to talk about the history of stuff is Marianne Stevens. Marianne is a volunteer at the museum, and during seasonal summer events, she provides Model T rides for our guests. Hello, Marianne.
Hello.
Know any interesting facts about the Model T?
Early on, the Model T was marketed using some wild publicity stunts. In one of those stunts, a gentleman named Henry Alexander drove a Model T to the top of Ben Nevis in Scotland in 1911.
And Ben didn't mind?
I understand you stalled the Model T last week.
How'd you hear about that?
You made a lot of noise.
Oh.
And I was about to drive that vehicle.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have left the car just lying around.
Maybe you shouldn't have left your coffee just lying around.
Let's talk mass production. It wasn't that the Model T was outstanding for what was around.
Outstanding where?
It's that it was affordable because it was built on a conveyor belt.
Oh, like at a grocery store.
Kind of.
Doesn't seem like there'd be enough room.
They were a lot bigger.
Why were the grocery stores back then so big?
Because the middle class was changing.
Into what?
Come with me.
Field trip!
Like the Honda Accord and the Toyota Camry, these are some of America's best-selling cars in history.
That's mine.
They sold millions. They're not particularly fast, luxurious, or even good-looking. But they sold because they were practical. The working class needed cars that were sturdy and functional and that were also affordable. And therefore, these cars are timeless.
So what's your point?
My point is the Model T is the first car of that. This was the car that allowed the working class en masse to own a car. You can have these back. By introducing laborers to minimum wage, weekends, vacations, and affordable cars, Henry Ford changed the culture of transportation.
So what you're saying is the Model T was a no-nonsense budget buggy.
Please don't call it that.
Today we learned that the working class was changed forever by these no-nonsense budget buggies. Now, if you've been with the series since the beginning, you may know that I have some experience with Model Ts. Well, a Model T. And by experience, I mean I sat in the driver's seat. But with that experience, I learned that these vehicles are quite light on amenities, like doors. So tune in next time, where we learn more about the Model T and how these efficient vehicles could be modified by their owners and operators.
feel like this Volkswagen is starting to mock me.